Is that you, Lee? Or is that me?
No, I think it's your end.
Mine says echo. Is that you, Lee? Muted.
No, I think it's your end.
Hold up, guys. Echo. Is that you, Lee? Muted.
No, I think it's your end. Is that better? I don't know where that loop's coming from.
Does that work, guys? Can you hear us?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you okay.
I don't know where.
Let us know if you can hear us in the chat. Are we live, or did I mess it up? I can hear
you okay. It's echoing round. Maybe it's coming from the actual portal.
Are you still hearing an echo? I'm not.
Coming from the actual portal. Yeah, it's coming through. Oh, hang on. My bad. That should be better.
There we go.
Should be good now.
All right, guys. Technical difficulties.
Live TV.
Figured we'd go live and get the crew together, because in the comments all the time I hear people say, "Hey, you guys should go live more often." Not us, but me specifically, so we can answer questions. Lee goes live all the time, and it's just an easier way to make content. So I'm like, let me bring my brother Lee on from across the pond, and let's just hash out some of the stuff that's going on today in DeFi and just in general, and we'll get to it. Plenty of fun stuff to talk about. But looks like everybody can hear us in the chat, and so we'll take this pretty casual, and we'll answer some questions and everything from the chat. But I just wanted to throw out a little update on Drip Network. So when was that AMA? Was it Thursday or Friday of last week?
Friday, I think.
Friday. Okay. Yeah. So it must have been Friday. And trying to remember all the stuff that he talked about. Talked a lot about the games, a lot about the stable fund. Not stable fund, the stable pools.
The stuff that no one wants to hear about and moans about in Telegram like 5 minutes later.
I know. It's all important. Luckily for me, I don't know, did you have any stables still?
I didn't know. No. Yeah. But I still find it important, because things have to be built before we can move on to other things that have to be deployed. So he's got to get all that. Everything he gets out of the way is just another step closer to the. And
people would be super upset if all of a sudden something wasn't working right, like they weren't getting paid or whatever. So these are the necessary evils of dealing in a space that moves fast and having collateral rehypothecation, where you're earning money from other areas of the business, and if you're earning money over there and something breaks, then you gotta fix the link. So that was good.
Yeah, I think overall he talks a lot about the games. I know that, like you said, which is obviously amazing, because that's going to give us a chance to do more live streams and competitions and interaction with the lovely people in the chat. By the way, thanks for having me on. So rude of me. Wolves are currently losing. I haven't checked in the last 10 minutes because I'm behind.
You're good, man. And I did no intro. I was just like, Lee's on the stream. We've got an echo. We had absolutely no echo, or no intro. So I didn't really introduce you either. But
I was watching it on YouTube at the same time.
Yeah, I had mine up. I always try to have it up because it's that delay. Just want to make sure you're actually live once you click live, because you're running multiple layers of software on top of each other. And I muted it, and so but that's how it goes. But anyway, thanks for coming on stream. But I agree. I thought it was like one of the better AMAs that we'd heard in a while, because he actually talked a little bit more about Drip, and it's a little frustrating sometimes because we want Drip to get boosted up, especially us that are close to a max out wallet. The price is all of a sudden starting to matter a lot, and so I would like for some of these developments to be coming. I'm hearing rumblings that the UI is going to be finished in the next few weeks. No specific date, but that's going to be super helpful. I'd love to get the new UI by the time my wallet maxes, but my wallet maxes out in like 2 weeks, I think. 3 weeks, maybe. 3 weeks. About 21 days. How far are you out?
I am, I think 8 days, 9 days max. On wallet one. And for me, for the first, I don't know, for the first few weeks, obviously, I'm not really a seller at all. I haven't sold anything in months and months and months. But it would be nice, because I said it in one of my videos, these people that keep saying you can't sell, and I was sort of in that camp way back, and then I started thinking, well, hang on, why did we put money into anything in any investment we've ever done? It was not to just put it, you might as well throw it in the bin if you're never going to take anything out. But there's ways of taking it out and using it responsibly. As you know, we've spoke about strategy till the cows come home. And I'm going to probably utilize my drip in the first instance to pair up with BUSD and farm it. And hopefully the emissions is going to be a little bit better, so we can get some more dogs, earn some BNB. Obviously then in the pig pen, get some BUSD. And then if I don't have to sell that asset, I'm going to feel a lot better about myself and my role in the community, if that's a thing. I want to be a bit more responsible than just seeing that there's like $700, ripping that out and sending it to the bank to pay the electricity and gas bill for the month. I want to be a little bit more long-term rather than just sell. Because once my accounts, it's took me so long to max out, I don't just want to wreck it within, however many days it is, 245 days, whatever. It's not what I joined this protocol for. So that's pretty much
it. I think it's nice that there's other options. I'm with you, like, to keep it in the ecosystem, especially in assets that are going to help earn you some additional yield. So I'm thinking a lot about the pigs. I like the idea of just hanging on to that, coupling it up with BUSD, and then throwing it in the farms or in some dogs and kind of letting it work. To me, it's not too much different than accumulating why you'd want to accumulate in the bear market in the first place. So it's like, we're selling all these assets while they're super low. It's like Forex doesn't want to sell the cake that's sitting there for the injections until everything kind of gets boosted back up and we can get a better price for it. So, on that account, most of the money that I'm making in DeFi right now, like you said, it's good to take some out just so you have that process. But man, right now I just feel like it's the best year to accumulate. Nobody wants to be in it. Everybody hates it. We're the benefactors of having now a year plus, a year to 2 years worth of experience under our belts, to where we kind of like, we got a pretty good feel for what's going to last, 90 days and what's going to last long term, or all that type of stuff. So I think you're right on. I'm planning to do the same thing. Just reinvest the majority of that over into other parts of the farm. Maybe keep a little bit of profits. But right now I've got enough stuff going, and you've seen I've got like 10 protocols up right now. But I've got the big, normally I'd be like, okay, I got to claim a little bit because I want to have a little on the side and I want to be able to buy some pigs or dogs, but I got to have gas and all that stuff. I now have enough dogs that I'm earning a good amount at least for gas, so I don't really have to touch that. The dog pounds up to, I was able to get, I think I got 100 in the linear pool and like 60 in the auto compounding. So my goal here is, my goal here is to, has been to get these both up to 100 and just let them coast. But if I can make enough money to cover my gas fees, then I don't really have to sell drip for that. If I can make enough money just in these other deals like baked beans or whatever to pad myself a couple extra BNB here and there, I can mess around with that money and do more degen plays, and then kind of leave that drip money in the animal farm ecosystem. So I plan to feed the new wallets, and then some of that money will go over into pigs and dogs. I just really want to build up my animal farm position the best I can.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I just want to respond to Pete. Hi, Pete. Thanks for being in the comments, mate. We appreciate you. Why hydrate to a max wallet? You end up paying a lot more in wild tax versus a sensible hydrate claim strategy. Which, yes, that there is a strategy where you can split your drip across multiple wallets to avoid paying wild taxes. But I've got a couple of points that I want to touch on that before Scott does. And my first one is, the reason wild tax is implemented into the drip network is to help support the drip network and, to pay back. You put your brick in, as Ray would say, so you're allowed to get your brick out. But also you get penalties for being such a big holder of so much drip. So I actually support taxes because, and I'm talking drip network, DeFi taxes, not tax advice on the outside. But also for me, the main goal that I set out on Valentine's Day 2022 was to get a Max wallet by however much money it took me and how much time it took me, was to get a Max wallet, because then I can choose the choices with me what I do with the 206 or whatever drip you get per day after taxes. Now, I feel very happy that I've got to Max wallet. Do I wish it was $6 million worth so I could, take out 60 whatever it is a day? Obviously. But long term, I believe that once I've paired up my drip with BUSD and farmed it, however much I do of that, I can still take that drip if price goes up and sell it, if we hit a price target. So it's all about flexibility and hitting targets and becoming a Max wallet holder, which is what I wanted to do from day one. So I don't know what your thoughts on that are, but that's mine.
Throwing out some music for my answer. Hopefully that's not too loud.
No.
The comments. Yeah, so my I agree. So a couple different things. One, taxes are important and helps the system be sustainable. If you're talking about continuing to hydrate and then claim and have that type of strategy, in the end, you pay the same amount of taxes, because you're going to end up paying the same amount of taxes, just depending on the price, but the same amount of drip. So in the end, there's no way to escape whale tax unless you cut your wallet short and don't ever try to get to a max wallet ever. And you max out your wallet in a really small fraction of what it's capable of. So there's a couple different ways to play it. I think you can manipulate the system and not pay whale taxes and open a bunch of small wallets and max those out, but that obviously wouldn't be good for the ecosystem. And I'd much rather have the ecosystem last for a long time. So being a good steward of the community, I wouldn't recommend that, or especially advertise it. But in the end, you're still going to pay a bunch of taxes. I mean, there's no way around it. If you want to get to a max wallet at any point, eventually you're going to hit a whale tax tier, and then it's going to continue up, and you're going to pay those taxes unless you cut your wallet short and just continue to claim out, which is not advised. So, I mean, there's a way to do it, but yeah, I'm for the taxes in the system. I think they're solid. It just depends. I mean, I could continue. It just depends on when you open your wallet to how much money you're going to really get from it, because I could continue to hydrate until I hit max wallet, and if the price is much higher, then I end up getting a lot more even after paying the whale taxes. I could use a sensible claim and hydrate strategy right from the gate. But if the prices are low during that period and they max later, I've already claimed a good portion of my wallet. So there's just multiple different ways to play it.
It's a fair question though, and obviously you can never really tell what you're going to do when you're close to a max wallet, I think, until you get there. But I haven't hydrated my way to a max wallet. I've DCA'd hard. That's what she said. I have 100%, to get to this point within 14, 15 months, which I think, me and you are in that time frame. You can't just hydrate it to a max wallet. It's going to take you a little bit longer. So we've both put videos on saying, I'm putting this in, I'm putting that in. So I think each to their own. It's your money to do exactly what you want to do with. And if you found a strategy that works for you, absolutely run with it, 100%.
Yeah, I agree completely. We got another question here. I'm selling half the dogs I've earned per week and pocketing BUSD from the pig pen per week, piggy bank and garden still feeding the farms. So if you're selling half the dogs you've earned per week, you're going to sell them as you earn them, or you're going to sell them straight out the gate and take the 90% tax? So that's my question. For me, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do that just because I would have a longer term strategy. What I would do and what I plan to do, I don't know if I'll sell dogs right away. I'm still trying to figure that out. But if I do, I'm going to wait until the dogs that I staked a couple months ago are at my, largest tax reduction they could be at. And then when I sell those dogs, I want I'm going to replace them with new dogs that I either farmed or I'm going to purchase. So every week, if I'm going to sell dogs, I need to make sure, hey, I'm going to sell 10 dogs this week. I better have 10 dogs to now put in there so I can start that tax reduction process. So that's my secret dog strategy for when I go to sell them. I'll try to never sell a dog if it hasn't been fully tax reduced, because once you get to that point, it's totally feasible. What's the tax on that? 6% or something like that after you've got the full reduction. That's totally feasible. I'm happy to pay that 6% tax. I'm going to replace those dogs with new dogs, and in 90 days or whatever it takes to get to the full tax reduction, then I'll be able to sell those and replace them with new ones. So it's going to be kind of this first in, first out model for me of investing in the dogs. But I'm going to always try to be ahead of what I'm claiming. So if I want my dog position to continue to grow, both in auto compounding and linear, because I want the B&B, and then I'm fine earning pigs as I hold the asset. Like if I don't need to sell them, I don't plan on it.
Yeah, same for me. I mean, I've got just under 50 dogs, and bear in mind, there was a couple of questions in Telegram earlier about dogs. When you see your tax reduction, and someone today was asking, why does it show 80% plus loyalty score of 4%, but we've only been live for 76 days. So the 76 days we've been live, if you were in the auto compounding pool, that's 76% tax reduction. It automatically adds your current wallet loyalty score to, for instance, your tax reductions. You shouldn't be seeing. We haven't been live for 81 days, so you haven't been staking for 81 days, because that would mean you've been 5 days earlier than us. So obviously, people need to remember that the wallet loyalty score is added on to your tax reduction, and each one of those that you see on Scott's screen there are like claim tickets or coupons. So you can withdraw the 7 dogs and select your tax reduction for that amount of dogs. So like you say, if you keep it on a rotating basis from dogs you farmed or DCA'd in and staked or whatever, you will get to a point where price meets tax reduction versus your own personal needs, wants, requirements, or absolutely must get out of crypto because something's happened in your life that you need the money for. So when it comes to strategy with dogs, there's so many variables that you need to consider based on your own portfolio. So it's not like if someone says, when should I sell dogs? It really is one of those situations where you have to look at your own situation. But for me, I'm happy earning my BNB because I haven't moved any money for gas in weeks. So that's awesome because I don't have to think about gas now. Drip is at a point where I can hydrate it, just once every couple of days if I need to, because I'm earning so much of it. It just gets pushed straight into the pot to the max. And then one thing I forgot to mention about Drip was obviously airdrops is going to be a key thing, both for my own wallets that are below me, and also to make sure that the team that supported me from day one get fed some extra drip, because obviously I'll have, all I've got to do is claim, so they'll benefit from it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. That's true. That's a good point too. Once you've maxed out a wallet, it'll be a little more fun. I hope we get to the point where we get some nicer price appreciation so we can easily ROI and then be a lot more generous with, giving away funds and stuff like that. I know some of the big dogs, some of the OGs like Ray and stuff, they'll kick out some pretty killer airdrops, and that's super helpful once you can amass, a good amount of rewards here. So hopefully we see some price appreciation over the next couple months. And everything will look good. But back to your point on dogs, you're right. And for me, I'm going to have a couple different strategies of where I put that money if I do sell the dogs. And part of it's going to be just where can I get the most money out of this? Where can I get the most yield? So if I sell the dogs and I've got my money sitting there, is it beneficial to throw those over into pigs and just build up my pig pen position? Because I'm planning to do that as high as I can get them. Or like right now, I wouldn't do this strategy. If I was going to sell these dogs, I wouldn't do this strategy right now because the market's just been on a tear. But if the market tanks again and we see another new low, like a lot of us think is going to happen, that's a perfect time for me to go in and buy, some more blue chips for the farms and the pools. And so I may sell them switch them over to those, because I think there's going to be a potential upside. Because the dogs are going to be, in my opinion, are going to be. I mean, I just don't think we're going to take major hits outside of once we get to this full tax reduction. I think we might see a big sell off of dogs. But right now, with them actually being really stable, up at $28, it was down to 26, 27. Now it's bouncing back up, and taxes are really well reduced. I think we might have already squeezed out a good portion of those buyers. Now, there may be some people just waiting for full tax reduction, like myself, if I was going to sell any. But I don't think we're going to see the teens, personally, based on what we're seeing now. I forget, a lot of people would have been like, okay, they would try to front run the trade. If they're like, hey, everyone's going to sell once the taxes get low, we'd have a lot of people selling in the 80s and low 80s, mid 80s, tax reduction into the 90s. So, I think we're actually in a pretty good position for dogs. And I don't think we're going to see, we might see low 20s after a decent sell off, but I don't think we're going to see the teens like some people were saying. What do you think about that one?
I mean, yeah, I totally agree. Liquidity is strong on the dogs. And I assumed 50 to 75% we would see a huge, I thought that would be the biggest range of sellers. All the anti, what did they call it? The fodders, they're called the dog pound, the hostage dogs or something, the hostage pound. Yeah. So I assumed that group of people and their followers would probably sell between 50 and 75%. We did see some sells, which obviously was good for us holding because we get the BNB, which is great, obviously. I do think we'll see a little bit of movement around. This is bearing in mind if we don't see any major market moves over on Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the stock market, or Jerome Powell says something ridiculous. But it doesn't look like that's happening at the moment. So I think we may, like you say, have weathered the storm on the sales of dogs. And I can't see it dropping into the teens either. And I just don't think that there's enough sellers left with the amount of dogs required to drop us to that kind of level. And if we do dip to a certain level, I do think the dogs will be bought straight back up anyway.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. It'll be interesting to see. I'd love to see. I mean, dogs to me it's like another asset that not super particular on the price. Like, pigs too. Of course, I'd like the pigs to go super high, so at some point I can sell some off. But I don't need to. That's not my point in holding pigs. It's the dividends, and no matter whether pigs are $5 a piece or $500 a piece, the dividends will be the same because it's your percentage ownership in the system. So yeah, for me, I'm just sitting here and letting these things work, and I don't plan to sell them. So I'm with you. I'm just hoping that we see a stabilization in price, so outside investors can look at it and go, okay, this is a good stable asset to invest in.
It'd be interesting to see some teasers of Dogs Roulette as well, remember, because obviously, buying the bullets for Dogs Roulette is going to be awesome. Scratchy, obviously, we don't know anything about that. I'm thinking it might be Q2 or even 3 before we see that, because I want to think the worst, but if the best happens, then it's a surprise for us, isn't it? But I do think that these utilities that we're waiting for, and yes, it would be great to have them all. Like, people ask me all the time, oh, why can you be bullish on Drip when we've had no utility? Well, like I said at the very start, certain things have to be put into place on the puzzle before we can put that last middle piece in. We have to work out what the puzzle's telling us. So I think, Drip and the animal farm, as much as they are separate projects, which they are completely, they are correlated, just like markets are correlated. And I think certain things have to be done here before they can be done over here. And I don't know any inside information. I wish I did, because I'm not in the DARE when I'm not on Forex's, phone list. But when you piece together the pieces of the puzzle that we see from, a little bit of alpha here or a little bit of gossip there, the picture that's painted to people in the chat is very bright. I'll be honest. Some of the stuff is decent, and it's not a million miles away either. You alluded to the UI. That is not very far away at all, is it? And we pick up on gossip and alpha, and I don't think we're that far away. So let's just wait and see.
Yeah, I agree. I think we're pretty close on that within a couple 3 weeks or so on the UI, which will be just a nice addition to have and some traction. And then Scratchy, I don't know, it's probably a Q2 thing. Everything's just delayed. We got to take the timelines and double them, every time. So I don't that's what's happened in the past. I don't think that's going to change now. So it's unfortunate, but the fact that Drip's been holding like this 60-cent mark, 70 cents right in there for like a month now, that's encouraging. At some point there's going to be a bottom, so whether it just sits at 60 cents for a while we give Forex the opportunity to release some of these developments, and that's what it is. I would love it to go higher, and I also would love for him to develop faster, but I'm not in charge of all that. And I don't know how long it takes to develop some of these complex things and have them be perfect the first time. Because in DeFi, if you screw something up, all investors get burned, and then your whole name's burned.
Totally agree. And before, I suppose, we touch on things correlated to DeFi, is that word of the day for me, correlated? I must have heard it earlier on a video. It's a good word.
It's a good word, sir.
It's a good word. I just want to touch on a couple of things maybe outside of that people might be interested in, if you don't mind. That's all right with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Go for it right now. I'm going to buy some drip. One real quick before you touch on them. Migration should still happen Thursday. And then I got Saloom over here saying, why is nobody burning drip? And I mean, we are on a pretty consistent basis. So while he's talking, I'm going to go in, I'm going to buy some more drip, and I'll burn it here on screen for you. Anyway, sorry, buddy. Sorry to cut you off.
Sweet. It's your show. I'm just the guest, which is great because I don't have to mess with anything. That's what she said. So yeah, one thing I wanted to touch on was the project that LD and Unmade Sugar have started, the NFT project, the Guardians of the Reservoir, which I'm one of the Guardians. I'm obviously Driptopian, Superman, my favourite superhero ever, and I am going to do a separate video on it. I'm not going to go too far into it because this is Scott's show, but it's very, very bullish. Stunner to do a little piece on it in his video today. I'm just cold to see, so thanks for doing that, Stunner. And people who like collecting cards, like Pokemon cards, and for me, the football or soccer cards in the 80s and 90s, it's got a feel of that. You have to collect different sets. And if you're lucky enough to collect all of the set, you can mint a golden Forex, and people get actual rewards for collecting the sets and stuff. So I will do a video on it explaining it because there's a lot to it. But if you want to know more, you can check out obviously LD's video. He's done a good one, and Unmade Sugar, who's done all the artwork and done great. So I just wanted to touch on that because it's a side project to Drip, obviously, and it's about the reservoir. But the target is 100 BNB to go into the reservoir, which is a very, it's a nice thing to see, and I'm glad to be a part of it. And obviously, me and you've spoke about it on the side. There's other things I want to talk to you about as well. So I just think that added with Droplet from DeFi Proof, Forex asked us as a community to build, try, work. It's a mutable, do your own thing. And I just think, that these little added projects, whether they don't succeed or do succeed to whatever level, the fact that people are trying, and I do think these will succeed, by the way, because they've got community backing. I just think it's amazing that these people take it upon themselves to spend their own time to, do what we do and they do, to think of things, whether it's a good idea or a bad idea. People are trying to build and help support the price. And that comment there from Zaloom, thank you, by the way. People are burning drip, but the momentum we had from sort of 27th of December when Ray did the initial video dropped off with community sentiment. And the only way that sentiment comes back is for people to share the burns and show it on camera, i.e. like that. And, share the QR codes in all the groups and just do your bit. One drip is all it needs. If you can put 1,000 drip in or one drip in, it doesn't matter. It's all good.
Yeah, I agree. I should go through here in a second. And for me, part of what I'm doing with all the other protocols that I'm in, because to me, there's only a couple protocols out there that are building ecosystems. they're going to have the ability to last. Like, I love the bank beans and the miners of the world. They're fun plays, but they're not meant to last forever. You know, the one exception is what BNB miners, been around forever, just keeps surging every time it's dropping. Eventually it will die, but they're just not set up because they don't have the utility. It's, you know, money in and money out. And it's a fun game to play. So for me, that's what those games are. But what I'm planning to do is, if I can play them right, which I learned last year and the year before that, best way to play them. I mean, I was in a bunch in, what is it? I don't even know what year it is. Was it 2021? I was in a bunch in 2021. I don't, time's flying, man. But I was in a bunch in 2021, and I lost money on a bunch, and I got in some late thinking that they would last for a while, and I got in after they had been around for 90 days and they lasted for 30, and I was in a 60-day lock or whatever, and got burned on a bunch of them. So for me, I'm trying to get in most of this stuff if I can, on day one, if I can, right? And see if I can mine out a few BNB, and then those BNB will go to whatever. I just claimed from the Mischief of Fortune today, right? Richie's DApp.
Oh yeah.
Took out $100, put 50 back in, and then I can use the rest of this to do a couple airdrops on my team, burn some drip and all that type of stuff. So I'm utilizing, for me, some of these other protocols to generate income and funds over where I want to. Maybe I'll buy some more drip, airdrop it, I'll burn some drip, I can use it to buy pigs or whatever. So there's short-term plays for me and long-term plays for me. And on some of those short-term plays, I'm going to get burnt. You know what I mean? Like Yield Robot rug today. Yeah. Apparently it seems like it's a rug. Apparently there was a backdoor. To me, there's a backdoor if you're able to go in and basically mint a coupon and then allocate as much funds as you want to that coupon. That's basically what happened. It looks like the rug got pulled. So if the main guy that's in the chat saying he's going to find a way to refund everybody, if he's being honest and he didn't have anything to do with it, someone on his team did for sure. Someone built that backdoor and milked that along. So if they all weren't involved, at least one team member, which kind of is interesting because he says, I'm talking to the hacker right now. How are you going to talk to anybody? All you have their wallet address, unless it was someone on your team.
It was someone on the team. Anyway, we know that. Anyway, I know we can't speculate, but for setting coupons with infinite rewards and all the rewards.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's unfortunate, and that's the point. It's not that no one's to be blamed apart from the people that did it, and people have lost money. You friends, my friends, people in my chat. It's not the time to say, "Oh, I told you so," because they're your friends, like your crypto friends who've lost money. If I lose money in anything that I invest in, the last thing I want someone doing, and I've learned this in this space, is to I told you so. It's the worst thing. It's unfortunate. It's DeFi. It's risky, and it's crap that they've done it. If they've done it, by the way. But yeah, it is what it is, man.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's with all protocols, though. Like we run the risk. We try to say it every video, like, not financial advice. This stuff is risky. So we're trying to squeeze some dollars out of it, and hopefully we can time it just right. And some of them we're going to lose. We're going to straight up lose, and or it's going to get rug pulled, or we got it at the wrong time, or we played it wrong. In particular case, obviously there's nothing very many people could have done. But yeah, it's frustrating, but we got to realize we run the risk. But people say that about everything. I mean, I'm sure BNB miners been around for 18 months. And I'm sure people from the very get-go were like, don't get in it. It's a scam. It's still running. So some of them, if you say that every time, and I see these guys in the comments, every single project, they talk about how it's guaranteed rug pull or it's going to crash or whatever. And if you say that about every single project, then you're going to be right half the time. You know what I mean? Yeah. This is kind of how it goes. So it's unfortunate. I wish there was more honest devs in the space, but at least we got some that we can work with. And sometimes it's nice even to just work with these little individual, minor contracts where you know exactly what you're getting, what days you want to get in, when you need to claim, and there's no back end trading or anything like that going on that's supposed to support the platform where you just aren't sure what you're necessarily getting, right? You're rolling the dice a little bit more. And, I'm aware of that when I go into these things. I'm aware there's a good chance I can get burned on some of this stuff. But just like when I started my mining experience in 2021, I probably lost on 75% of the miners, but I made more on the ones that I made money on, that it well over offset the losses that I took. And so sometimes you just gotta try a handful of things. Don't over leverage yourself in any one in particular thing unless you're incredibly comfortable with it, like how comfortable we are with the animal farm and drip and some of these longer term ecosystem protocols. But outside of that, you just got to throw some risk capital in there and then try to play it the best way you can, and you're gonna lose some for sure, but some of them you'll win and come out ahead.
Win some, lose some. You go to the betting office and put a bet on your favorite sports team. You are betting on major leverage, because anything can happen. It takes a second to score a goal. It takes a second to throw a kick or whatever you do in the NFL. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just one of them, man. I mean, it does for me reinforce certain things, and I am a Forex maxi, obviously. It's one of them. But it just shows that drip gets such a kicking. Like, literally, drip gets put on the floor and beat for its price action, which is basically down to, obviously, price action is down to the amount of buys and sells and community sentiment. Yeah, it's still here, still doing exactly what it promised the day it launched. It's immutable. No one's touching it. No one's messing with it. Forex doesn't buy it. He doesn't sell it. It's just, here, have that. That's yours. And I find it a little bit hypocritical of people to be so savage on drip, yet it's where they come back to claim out and sell to recoup losses that they've made on something they've shilled to the followers after slagging drip off for months and months and months. Now, I'm not saying diversification is bad, because everyone, I think, not financial advice, should have a portfolio that's spread bet, because then you lower your risk. However, I also don't think that if you are not bullish on drip and you want to leave the system, you should leave quietly and then not come back, take your profits from drip and then FUD on it. Because I find it incredible that that's what people do when they've lost money. The one place they know they can come to and at least get some ROI is drip.
Yeah. It seems common, and it's not just one YouTuber. There's a lot of them that just went hard into drip about how terrible it was once the price started depreciating, and particularly in the time frame. I think it was worse when Animal Farm kept getting delayed. Everyone was like, Forex is this long, slow rug pull, and he's scamming everybody. And really just having team issues, and it took that amount of time to get the team right and start developing and get this thing back on track, coupled with a terrible bear market. So it is what it is. But yeah, people like to talk trash about drip. The contract never changed. Devers never did anything shady. He doesn't even take a admin fee from it. So you can't even say, hey, well, the whole time the price is going down, you're getting fees for every part of that transaction. So there's no real incentive for him to just let the thing bleed on. He obviously wants to improve it. And you've heard a little bit of fire in his voice lately when he talks about drip on these AMAs, probably the last couple in particular, because I think people have been giving him a hard time, starting to frustrate him, and he wants to do big things. And the kind of, I don't want to say leaks, because they didn't share the information, but some of the leaks from the DAO where they did kind of a recent little AMA or voice chat or whatever in the DAO with Forex, where apparently he dropped some bombs. They didn't share what those were, but it was apparently very bullish for drip in the long term. So that's going to be great. I think over time it'll survive. It'll bounce back. I don't know that we'll see $50 prices, but honestly, a $5 to a $10 drip is major when you're talking about maxed out wallets. And if they find a way to have other utility with a lending or ways to move this stuff directly over to the farm so you can farm dogs, I mean, the whole ecosystem will help support itself. There's just a lot of things they could do. I remember way back in the day, we started talking about the UI and how if you've got a nice user interface that looks professional, you can sell advertising blocks. And if you sell some advertising blocks for other projects that Forex is quickly vetted and trusts or whatever it is, then then that additional revenue can go back into putting money in the tax vault or whatever. There's just a bunch of ways. The super chat thing, I think, is I think it's kind of farther out than maybe some people think, but I think once that gets going, that could be a major revenue generator. It's just an ingenious idea to be able to decentralize, super chats that come through. So anyway, I think that's super crazy. We got a question here, and I'm interested to see how you'll answer this because I have my answer. But now that the crypto market looks like it's turning from bear to bull, how do you see this affecting drip in the animal farm?
For me personally, obviously, I don't think there's anything bad about that. But one thing I do want to say is, at the moment, I mean, I've got charts up there I'm looking at the moment with a couple of trend lines drawn. At the moment, I'm not getting too excited about what's happening in the crypto market because I just want to see it for a few more days and get some confirmation from people much smarter than me, including the one that's sitting next to me right there. However, I know that people are slightly concerned that the recent BNB pump hasn't pulled drip up with it. But there's only so much that the liquidity pool can do for drip with the amount of sell pressure we're getting. However, when we do turn bullish, and it's confirmed that we are bullish, I do see that obviously drip and the animal farm will succeed, will grow, prices will go up. To what level, I don't know. But one thing that is interesting about the way the market works with drip and the animal farm, and you just touched on it when you mentioned the price. If we, or when we, see $5 to $10 drip, the amount of people, because people keep asking, will we see 160 to 197 again because the amount of people who are going to be maxed, too much sell pressure. But if you expand the user base, you also expand liquidity, and a $5 to $10 drip price in the future versus what we're currently paying right now. If I spent $61 right now, I'll get 100 drip, which is relative to the price that could be coming in the future, i.e. $10 drip versus what my bag is now. I mean, I don't even know what that is. Probably 60 grand a month if that's the price we're looking at. But I'm going to let Scott answer this properly because for me, I'm going to let the market play itself out for a little while before I get majorly bullish. But I'm too bullish on drip. I'm just way too bullish on drip. So you tell me your knowledge. I've got some things right there on my little pad here.
For sure. So
market worried me.
I think it's a bullish move to the upside in the crypto markets, but I think it's a fake out. I think all the longs are starting to get excited again. All the retail investors, they're getting pumped. They're buying Bitcoin again because it's up. I don't know what it is. It's up from 15 to 21 or something like that, which is a significant increase. So let's say it's up 30% in the last couple of weeks. I think all those people that went long, I think they're going to get burned. I think this is going to tear down. I think institutional investors, the big boys that can trade in this type of stuff, are going to push the price down as far as they can, smoke everybody out, hit a bunch of stop losses, and then buy at the bottom. So I think we're going to get one more big push down, and maybe it won't even make it past 15. Maybe 15 will be the bottom again, but they'll push it down to knock a bunch of people out of their stop losses before it rallies back up. So that's what I think. That's just my overall opinion. I would love for this not to not be a fake out. I would love for Bitcoin to just stay steady, continue to rally a little bit, because if that happens and it continues to go like that, then the crypto bear market will end and we can go into a bull market. Now, typically the crypto market kind of mirrors the traditional markets, and I don't think the traditional markets are really ready to recover yet either. At some point, theoretically, since one's decentralized and one's centralized, we should see them deviate from each other, and we should see them kind of disconnect, and crypto should go crazy because it's in many ways, at least the big blue chips are more sound money, and the government just keeps printing US dollars, and every government across the world just keeps printing dollars. So eventually those will break. I just don't know if now is the time. It's probably a couple years down the road. But how will it affect Drip and Animal Farm? Let's just say we do rally into a bull market over the next month. Drip and Animal Farm will be the benefactor of that. The minute you start seeing headlines back on TV, Bitcoin's back, all that type of stuff, sentiment starts to change. Everyone starts to kind of get back on board, and they want to start buying again, and they start looking into altcoins, and the tide's going to rise when Bitcoin rises. So I think Animal Farm, Drip, everything will do better. People will start to come back into the crypto space, look for projects that have been around for a long time and are building out ecosystems. And if we've got a fresh UI that all matches and everything, and it looks professional, we'll have a lot of more people on board. So that's really all it comes down to. I think it will definitely help us, but we will see. Hopefully the bear market's over and we move back into a bull. But conventional wisdom would tell us that it's a 2024 thing, maybe later.
Yeah, which is why that's pretty much my thoughts. Which is why I said I'm kind of waiting for confirmation that whatever's happening, because someone was saying, much nicer than me, that there's a lot of institutional money waiting, and there's currently on 2 of the exchanges big for trading, there's 6 times more longs than shorts in play at the moment. And one of the big ones who's got like, I don't know, so many longs, they're not taking long bets on Bitcoin anymore. There's like 20 million in shorts, like 130 in longs, which kind of tells you if there's that much more shorts, which is the most they've had in 16 months or whatever the time frame is, that imbalance tells you that if that flips within a week's time frame on the charts, then we could see a retrace back down and test whatever level. What was it, 16.8 or something? We were at 16. But then again, who knows? Could be a rally, could be a fake out. Just have to wait and see. But the on ramp for Drip is what we need ready for when people start filtering back into crypto.
For sure.
To get people in, that's required.
I hope that on ramp is good, because I've used a couple of on ramps and the process is fairly clean. I mean, I've had to KYC with some of them. But there's the one thing, I don't know if you've ever used an on ramp like this, at least in the US. When I make a purchase, say I make a purchase for $1,000, that goes through. Then a couple of days later, I get this service charge from like my bank or this side, like almost like it's an international transaction or something like this. And that service charge is like an extra 5% or so. So I did make like a $3,000 purchase in the last couple of months using an on ramp. And because I was having issues with crypto.com, and then next couple of days I got hit with that. And when I used to use crypto on ramps, I used to get that fee too, and I just completely forgot about it until now. So now I got dinged. But I'm interested to see if it will have that same issue, because obviously those additional hidden fees are kind of terrible for people. I don't know. That just popped into my head because that happened to me recently.
Yeah, I've only ever used MoonPay and Simplex, and I've never been hit with an additional charge. The fees that I've paid are taken from the crypto. I get a worse, obviously, exchange rate, but no KYC up to $2,000. If you can get that over the line, it's pretty good for new.
Yeah, it'll be helpful. It'll be helpful, and I'm hoping we do go into a bull market. Being a YouTuber will be so much more fun when that happens. We create a lot of content, and when times are tough, you just have to keep educating people on accumulating in a bear market on the assets you believe in. And, it gets old. People don't want to hear that. They want to hear the new and exciting stuff. So we play around with some DGEM plays, but there's only so much, we can do. This is interesting though, because this came up recently. So next question is Scratchy's really a utility, or is it a fun way to get buy-ins? He's legit asking, not funny. And yeah, that's a legitimate question. My answer to this would be yes, it is a utility, in the same way that you can run it's like kind of saying is a casino a business. It's like you're really just funneling money in and out and taking a percentage. So yes, it's just a way to generate a small percentage of that goes back to buybacks. So is it going to make the biggest deal in the world, and all of a sudden, Scratchy's going to make drip go to $20 or whatever. Probably not, but there's a lot of people, including me and Lee and lots of other people in my group, that will get into this Scratchy thing. We'll be buying the tickets. We can scratch them on camera. We'll, do some giveaways. I mean, it'll be a fun process with the potential to win some money. And then, you can stake them afterward to earn it, which I'm less excited about. I'm fine just buying the tickets, and whether I win or lose, that'll be the fun of it. And then a portion of those proceeds, just like any other business, will go back to feed the tax vault. So any help to the tax vault is good in my opinion. Plus, it's just one more thing. And especially if we can advertise Scratchies or advertise on the Scratchy site or anything like that to generate more revenue. So I do think it's a real utility, just the same as operating casino is. You're taking a percentage of the funds that are moving in and out, and you're allocating that to the business. So in our case, it goes to the tax vault instead of to pay overhead for some business.
Yeah, it's 100% a utility for all the reasons you just said. Obviously the staking part, again, similar to you, it's not really something I'm looking forward to, but it is added utility to something that normally, if you bought one in the street at the gas station, once you scratched it in, it was done for, it gets thrown away. So people can, have that option to do what they want with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I 100% think Scratchy is going to be
it'll be nice. I think it'll help people too to have the ability to stake it, to realize, I don't know, anytime things are electronic, I hate gambling electronically. I hate playing cards electronically and stuff. I just feel like there could be some back end code that's screwing me all the time, So, in this case, you've got, if they utilize a chain link service to randomize everything so it's good, you at least can hang your hat on the fact that it's probably is random, and you've got as good a chance to win as anybody else. But know that also, hey, even if you don't win and you feel like you're getting screwed for some reason, you can stake those and earn something back. So I think that's good. I think this is just my opinion, and maybe I'll be wrong, but I think there's pretty much going to be no secondary market. I don't think you're going to really see people selling their Scratchies that they were staking to try to get a percentage. I just think it's kind of unnecessary. I think people will stake those right in the system and just sit it and let it earn. I don't think there's a lot of people. Most people right now that are in drip that are just selling because they want to get out. When Scratchies comes, they're not going to be, they're not going to be the first to the table to pick up some Scratchies and then try to sell off the Scratchy on a secondary marketplace as an NFT or whatever. So I don't think that'll happen.
Well, interestingly, obviously there's a total demographic of people that buy these kind of things. If you think of influencers who, they buy, I saw one yesterday on TikTok, they buy a big, massive pack of scratch cards and they'll sit there for 5 hours doing scratch offs.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that everyone is going to run to this to do that. However, people who have got the funds in place, I mean, for me, for instance, if I buy a pack of 50 or a set of 50, and bear in mind they're batched as well, just like the normal regulated ones. So these are decentralized scratch tickets. And if I buy 50 and say, right, Scott, Friday, we'll have a bottle of whiskey or a bottle of vodka. We'll have 25 scratches each. Whoever wins the most money, biggest airdrop in Scratchy. Or, you touched on it there, saying the content is obviously one of the great things about it.
Yeah.
But when other influencers see that going on, they might not even be drippers. They might not even be in the animal farm. They might send you a message saying, what's that? And I'm not saying Mr. Beast is going to come and buy Scratchies, right? Let's just get that straight. However, in time, if that becomes a thing saying, have you seen this crypto scratch card? We need to get on that. And it's a YouTuber who's got 50,000 subs and he buys 100. That means it's a utility because other people are seeing other people doing it and want to copy it. It just depends on how good the marketing is, how good the actual procedure of scratching them off is. We've seen the light paper and the promotional stuff. I'm personally looking forward to it, as are you, because we've spoken about it. And I think it's going to take more teasers and more information about it to reignite the Scratchy love.
Yeah, I agree. We need more teasers. We need it to be launched fairly soon. Marketing, man, I've harped on the marketing. If the marketing ends up being good for some of the new stuff that's rolling out, it can be super, super helpful. So I'm hoping that these new channels that they're targeting for the marketing are going to be much better. Like Forex said, it was nice to hear him be a little more transparent, because we've all been critical. Like, man, some of these accounts are like awesome. They've got 250,000 followers, but you go and it's a bunch of fake comments. It's like, man, this is too bad, because we're missing an opportunity. If these were real people, we could see some serious eyes on the project. So it's good to hear Forex acknowledge the fact that some of the engagement that they've been reaching out to and getting, they realize now that it's fake, and they're going to get better, bigger, better people. So I think that's super awesome. Yeah. I got another one real quick. So this one I won't say too much about, but I think, DeFi Proof, obviously he's partnered up and is doing Droplet. I think it launches tomorrow on the 18th. I need to do a video. Yeah, I need to do a video on this one. So I'll save some of my stuff for the video, but it is cool. Again, one more person in the community just trying to do something to help boost up the drip price. And so, shout out to DeFi Proof. And I'm going to get a video on it about it that'll kind of explain it, what I think about it. I did put some money into it already, so we're going to see how this thing rolls, and then hopefully the launch goes really smoothly and people can pile in.
I'm the same. I know it's like a tomb fork, or like that concept, whatever the word is.
Mm-hmm.
And I put a little bit of money into EMP, which is obviously a similar project. I am going into Droplet. Let's get that straight first. However, I've waited until we get it launched so that I can learn more about it, because I'm terrible at education without being taught. I need, me and Scott, by the way, could spend 4 hours in direct messages, and we have done. And I'm saying, Scott, I need your help. I don't know what I'm doing. And Scott might say, Lee, have you seen this? Can you help me with that? Whatever it is. So when it comes to content about Droplet, I'm waiting so I can see how it works before I butcher it. But I am going into it. I think it looks fantastic, and the work that's going into it, they're doing live streams all the time about it. I think it's going to be very good for Drip. And again, shout out to DeFi Proof and his team for doing what they're doing. It's much appreciated from me personally.
Yep, that'll be one more cool thing. Drip Coach is also working on something cool. It's a little more involved, so I'll break down some more of that later. Shout out to Jonathan, man. He's just in the space all the time, dude. Every video, every live stream, I feel like he jumps on and supports. So thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
Much love.
Then we got Mighty Mofo, Mighty Mofo over here asking about how Christmas lights. I just have this standard one. I could probably change the light color back and forth from Christmas.
Maybe he's talking about mine.
Christmas colors. I know he is. I'm just trying to figure out how I can
put more lights to yours. Look,
blend in with you. If I just blink this back and forth, it's basically Christmas. It's terrible. Yep, I don't have the Christmas lights, and there is also a reason for that. And it's because it is mid-January.
Christmas.
So I don't know who in the right mind has Christmas lights up still.
I took the Santa Claus down.
That's true.
I've got to keep them up. It's my favorite thing.
Do it. If Christmas is your favorite holiday, rock it. Love it. Let's see. What do we got? We got a lot of feedback in the chats here. I'm super behind in the chats. Let's Mighty Mofo. With this $5, I'm gonna go buy some Christmas lights. Thank you, brother. Appreciate it. We got the smartest kid in the space right here, chiming in. Appreciate you, big guy. What else have we got? I'm so behind.
Smash the like. Definitely smash the like.
Yeah, appreciate it if you guys would smash the like, get it out there. We got over 100 people, so good amount of people tuning in. People like this are funny. Crypto is a scam. Crash coming. Crypto's been around for a long time, big guy. You got to be more specific.
The dollar is a scam, mate. The British pound is a scam.
Yeah, the dollar is as close to a Ponzi scheme as you could do it. You're printing money out of thin air. Yeah, I don't know. Some people have low IQs. Got some people arguing in the chat. That's awesome.
Damn it. What are they arguing about?
I don't know. They're just arguing about DeFi, I think.
Oh, God. Crypto is brilliant. Keeps us entertained.
What do we got? So, Mark Bishop, when do you guys think we'll get roulette and a Scratchy delivery? So, what do you say? Dogs roulette's going to be out first? I would say, I don't know. I'm going to say UI beginning of February, Dogs Roulette shortly after. 2 different teams, so hopefully they can deliver those shortly after. And then to me, Scratchy realistically is going to come in, late March, early April. That's my guesstimate for now. Which means nothing because Forex will just put it out on whatever timeline he wants to,
Yeah, I kind of agree with them timelines. For me, Scratchy may be a little bit later. Maybe May, June. But that, again, that's just me plucking a date from thin air because I know nothing. So.
Yeah, as long as we get development, it doesn't matter. As long as there's consistent development and it's not too far behind, then we'll be good. People will realize that he's working on it. I've said this on multiple other videos, but I think there was just the sentiment that Forex gave up on Drip and moved on to Animal Farm, and he's not really concerned with making Drip survive and everything. And I think it's right for people to have that opinion, because if they're looking from the outside in and they're not in all the chats, absorbing all the information and, looking at the admin chats, listening to how passionate Forex is about making it work. If they're just catching the occasional YouTube video, they're going, oh, I thought the UI was going to get updated 6 months ago and this and that. It's probably done. Like everything else in DeFi, these guys put out these roadmaps that are killer, and then very few follow through with the roadmap. So, if they're looking at it from the outside in saying it's going to be the same as every other developer, then I can see why they would think that. But if we get just a little bit of traction, new UI, Dogs Game comes out shortly after that, just some of that traction will get people pumped. There's still going to be people that say, I'm not happy when Scratchy is the day that the new UI launches and everything, but you can't please everybody.
No, it's just one of them, isn't it? I'd rather things be delayed and be secure than rushed and not. It's frustrating for everyone. I think people forget that we've got money actually invested. Not all of this money that's in these projects has just been given to us. Like, we've had to put a lot of money in. My first buy was 122 in February. You bought in December, I think, 2021. That's right, isn't it? Yeah, 2021. It is what it is. It's just one of them things. And now the Animal Farm is doing its thing. We've obviously had this little hiccup with the stable coins, stable farms, which has been sorted for Thursday. There is a time where when you see something drop for drip, it takes a second for sentiment to turn. Literally, crypto is so volatile, it can go down fast. It can also rocket. No one knows. It's very rare we see these slow, trends happening in DeFi, and we all know that. Yeah. You know that more than me. So
I mean, look at this an example. Even with the biggest market cap thing out there, which is Bitcoin, you just saw like a 30% run up in 10 days or something crazy like that. Like, that's unheard of. Could you imagine if that happened in the stock market? It would blow people's minds. So even though you see these 95% drawdowns in cryptocurrency during the bear market, these things rally up just as fast. And so it's it's kind of part of how it goes, but it's crypto is unpredictable in that way, and you just got to time it out. It all just comes down to just picking projects that you like and putting some money in, and knowing you're going to lose some money on some of them. And as long as you've got conviction about all of them, then some of them likely will win, right? Don't buy into a bunch of trash projects, and be aware that if you're going to get in some stuff that's crazy risky, don't be mad that what are these crazy ones that Rogan, Shiba Inu, all these like derivative of meme coins. Like, don't be mad when those things go zero. Like, you did no research, there's no utility. You could make some quick money off of it, but the fact is that they're not really made to have real utility and last. So be aware of that. If you're going to gamble, like, know that there's a good chance you're going to lose. But if you catch that upside and it's the one you got into the Shiba, and you make $4 million off $4,000, like, be pumped about it. That was you made the right gamble. You bought a lottery ticket that had a higher chance of winning than the Powerball, and instead of losing all your money, you made money. It is what it is. Shout out to Rad Down podcast. I was on his podcast last week, so he pre-records it and then he launches it the next week, and I'm pretty sure that's going to come out this Friday. Correct me if I'm wrong, but pretty sure it's going to launch this next Friday. But it was a nice combo about all things crypto and just a handful of things about the projects we're in and everything. So good combo. So I think it comes out this Friday.
Awesome. I'll be listening to that.
Here's a question for you, Lee. Do you think Forex is adjusting timing for the coming bull run? I got my answer.
This is asked a lot, and I don't think it's coincidence that Forex is one of the top traders on Bybit, and he can't time the market, but I certainly think his decision-making process is based on current market trends, if that's the way I could put it without saying too much, because he mentioned with the cake sale, selling the cake, why would he sell the bottom? Which tells you he thinks there's certain bottoms. She said. So no, I don't think he plans all of our, collateral movements based on tops and bottoms. However, it's a major part of his decision-making process, because he's an elite trader. If, we look at his posts in Telegram about his trades, and some of his brags, if you like, shorted this and long that, and I've made this and made that. So in short, I suppose I would say yes, to some degree, but in others I would say no, because he's obviously careful with privacy and security, and security of our funds is important to him. So there's somewhere in that range that you can decide what my answer tells you or not.
Nice. Yeah. I'll play the devil's advocate. I'll take the other side a little bit, because I asked him this question kind of in a few words, if he was trying to time the market. Was he delaying stuff to try to time the market? I think that frustrated him because he was going through a period where he was like revamping the team over and over again. So I don't think most of the delays have come from him trying to time the market. I think most of the delays have come from him trying to set up his team and get the right people in place. Forex is a specific personality, and so there's going to be developers that work really well with him, and there's going to be other talented developers that don't. And so trying to get all those people in the right place, including a project manager and a marketing team that sees eye to eye with him, because there may be, doesn't mean they're not talented. They may just not see eye to eye with them. And so him having to cycle through those, I think Forex is a guy that everyone on his team has to mesh well with his personality. Otherwise he'll find somebody else. And so I think a lot of it is, I think the delays are just him trying to build the dream team of the guys that work best with him. And so I think there's just been some delays there. I do think though that he's very cognizant, I should say, I can't talk today, of the market timing, like the cake thing. I think he will tweak a few things, or if he feels like, hey, everything's about to take off, he may crack the whip a little bit harder to squeeze some stuff out. I think he knows that nothing's going to happen right now, and so he wants the team to just get it done and get it done right. So that's my opinion on it. Who knows? Forex speaks in riddles sometimes.
I would want to add that I'm talking about the allocation of funds, the cake thing. I'm not talking about drip, timing markets for drip to release a UI to BNB pumps. That's a no. Like, I just don't think that's even possible. And if it is, exactly what you said, when it comes to building the two separate teams of devs, you can't really time a market based on recruitment. It's impossible. As an employer of people in the past, up until recently, I don't know when I'm going to get 10 people or one person. So that's impossible. So yeah, I do think there is certain elements of it when it comes to allocation of funds. But you've just done a perfect breakdown with regards to delays and timing markets. That's I agree 100%. That's why you're there.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see if I'm right, but I'm just ready for the new developments. He says they're going to be cool. I'm pumped about them. So yeah, the casino thought process, that's kind of what I have. Your follow-up question about does utility have to be a service or a product, or is there a gray area? There's a gray area. It's really what it comes down to ultimately is like use cases. You just need to have more use cases. If I can use it in more areas, it gives me a reason to hold the token. That isn't necessarily like a utility, but there would be more selling if you couldn't put there'd be more selling if you couldn't put your drip BUSD over into the drip BUSD farm. If that wasn't available, there would be more selling. So the more, I guess, use cases you can have, some of them will be straight utility, like it's a product or a service, and some of them will just be areas that you can stash that, or a reason to hold it, and reasons not to sell it. So yeah, I think there is a gray area, and particularly like that casino example, if you can utilize drip in a way, or really you're not even utilizing drip in any way, you're utilizing an outside protocol that that is all operated on BNB. It really has nothing to do with drip. You purchase it in BNB, you win your rewards in BNB if you end up winning the lottery or winning the jackpot, and then a portion of those proceeds go directly back into the tax vault. I mean, I think it really is a true utility. I bet Lee had to pee. He drinks a lot. I think you're saying Forex mentioned Driptopian. Sorry, we're so behind in the chat, like 15 minutes back. So whatever we talked about before, I think this is in reference to Scratchy and Driptopian getting the word out in Scratchy. And yeah, he's got, like you said, I think you said he's got 600,000 subs. Just got a crazy amount of subs. I mean, the right marketing, they get things pumping. People are going to purchase them. It could make a big difference in the tax vault. So I'm hoping that it does. Smash the like if you guys don't mind. Let's go for like, what do you guys think? Like another 15 minutes. We'll keep answering questions. I'm just pumped to max this wallet out. It's been a long road. So I'm 3 weeks out. Or if you guys missed the beginning, I'm almost exactly 3 weeks out from maxing out this wallet. And then it's going to be fun it's going to be for the first time ever to be claiming every day, let alone multiple days in a row. I probably had a few claims for airdrops here and there, and one or two for gas. But most of the time now, especially with drip price being this low, when I do airdrops, I just buy fresh drip and send it out. You know, I don't want to impact my little speed and my little calculator from DripFi. And if you guys didn't see, totally off topic, Grinch redid like the UI. So this UI, as we've all talked about, you guys can't see this. I'm an idiot. Hold on. Add to stream. Okay, so this UI could use some help, and it doesn't explain some things very well. And there's some stuff missing from the white paper originally, so a lot of us kind of got burned on that first claim. But Grinch designed a new UI, which basically shows you everything, what your current tax rate is. So I know once this gets to 0, it's my time to claim, because this doesn't show me that. So if you guys aren't using that, I'll get you guys a link to it. I wonder if I can paste that in my own chat. Let me see. beansfi.netlify.app. but it's awesome. So those of you guys that are in baked beans, I would start using that one. It's much better as far as the UI is concerned.
Yeah, that UI is poor.
It's just stuff that I would need. Like, I don't know. If I was to design a UI, I would just be real specific about what I need. I want to be able to go to a tab of a UI, including Drip. So I hope they have this, and just see like how much have I invested, how close am I to ROI. Maybe show some claim information. Just have all that sort of data in there. It's out on the blockchain, and I think if you design that from the get, I don't think it would be tough to aggregate that data and show you right there. You can do it on a lot of other financial sites. You're looking at your P&L and your growth over a year with some charts and all that type of stuff. There's no reason. All that data is accessible on the blockchain, and I'm sure I'm sure these talented devs could find a way for it to scrub that info and find all the transactions that happen from your wallet and populate them. It could even probably go back and say, hey, the first time you bought BNB, it was at 400, and tell you exactly how much in dollar terms your BNB was purchased over time. I'm sure that can be done. So it'd be nice if it would happen at some point. But even like UIs like this, man, if you just had a little bit more information saying how much you had already claimed, what you're available to claim, how many hours until you need to, what your claim window is, just a handful of things like that, I think would help a ton. Just create a little more transparency for people. But I'm kind of a stickler about UIs and what things look like. And I think these were good additions. Where is it at? Like the farms, I think these were good additions where it tells you what your earnings per day is, 7 days. I think this stuff's awesome. Global earnings. I just like to see information like this. It makes me feel better. I think I have a tendency to overanalyze stuff like this a lot. And we're all jumping around trying to analyze it. I know you guys are the same. And so I've got 10 different sites of offshoots that other community members have built, like James, DevStreak, and Baby Grinch. Like, they've created all these extra sites that we can go look at. Man, I just love to look at it in one place and know exactly what I'm working with. But that's just my rant.
Yeah, I think that some of that's going to be integrated into the new UI, isn't it? Eventually.
Yep. Some of it's coming for sure. Yeah. So hopefully that'll happen. I'd love to see them even go. I'd love to see them go even deeper and do a little bit more of those further back analytics. I'd love to see wallet history from the day you first deposited till now. What your dollar value was over time. You can map all that stuff out. I feel like relatively easily. Of course, it would take time. Everything takes time, but that doesn't have to be on V1 of the website. There's no reason they can't launch the new UI and then say, hey, we've got a data and analytics tab coming that's just going to break it all down. So you could go in and look at your investment performance over the last 18 months that you've been in it, when you hit max payout, just all that type of stuff, how close you are to the dollar ROI. Because, if you purchase all this in BNB, you got to know what the price the BNB was at for you to actually know what, how many dollars you really have in there anyway. So just all stuff that I would really like in the long term.
Yeah, I think 100%. With the talented people now, like DevStreak and Grinch, who do. I use drip.fi.app all the time. I use drip.formulate all the time. And to have these people on our side can only be beneficial as we move through stages of improving UIs, improving the way that data is communicated back to us. Because I'm the same. I've got probably 5 tabs of third-party data grabs that, if some of the fundamentals of the things that I look at on those apps and dApps could be integrated into a new UI, as a new user, that would be great, because I didn't know where to get any data from last year. Obviously, some of these things weren't available then, but it was put your money in. But for me, as a relative newbie, we've said it before about the on-ramp, getting your BNB, getting it into MetaMask, buying it. Do I buy it on PancakeSwap or do I buy it on the Fountain? I had to research that step to see what was better. And obviously, the more research you do, the better for anything, but the less time it takes to do that research if it's available on a UI. For instance, if my wife was to buy Drip tonight as a newbie, because she watches more of your videos than mine, so what am I going to do with that? So if she was to go and buy Drip tonight,
she's well educated, is what you're saying.
Yeah, she's clever. She's a good girl. If she was to buy on the UI with an on-ramp, first thing, that's what she would look for, a button that says buy Drip. She wouldn't look for a guide on how to buy Drip. She would not come into the crypto space if there wasn't that button. So I think that does add a lot more people outside into it. And then obviously you're the marketing guru, but once you've got someone here, you have to keep them here. So to go from a click, from an impression to a click to a conversion is obviously a long process. And I think the more we do to convert it from a click, then the better. And analytics do go a long way. If someone can, if it was just a calculator tab on the Drip site, this is what you could earn. Like when you do a loan application, what's my interest going to be, in 4 years' time when I've paid it off. So that kind of stuff is cool.
You should see all that with the calculator and everything. And luckily we've got great people in the space like Grinch and DevStreak and all these other guys who have created the tools, Drip Oracle. A lot of these tools were created, all of them were created by community members who just wanted to have a tool there, created out of the goodness of their own hearts. Of course, they have some, their wallet address in case you want to donate, and please do if you can, because they're really valuable tools. But here's the thing, and since Forex is so heavy on security, we should not be taking people to other sites to connect your wallet. It just adds a layer of risk, every one of those that you do. So you're trying to go in and revoke permissions all the time from all these different sites. I should really only have to connect to Animal Farm, and then I can go to a tab where all that data and analytics is, and I don't have to jump to all these other things and hope that whoever built them is trustworthy. So that's one big thing I think that'll be super helpful. It gets the security a little closer. And if they can somehow link the Drip and Animal Farm site enough to where you can at least get from one to the other in some form or fashion, some link at the bottom or something like that, it says partnership or something, that would be helpful. You could Google Drip Network right now and probably find a link to a fake website where, you connect your wallet and you get robbed. So it's a tough space out there. And so the more secure we can make it, the better. And I know Forex is a huge proponent of that. So why not keep everything in one spot? We've got the talent to do it. He's brought a lot of these outside developers in on the team directly and had them do pieces for it. So I'm hoping when this stuff really does go live again, like this year, if we can work out almost all the kinks this year and the UIs are great and all that stuff is great, when the bull market does come, this thing will be a beacon of light in the crypto space and DeFi space.
I agree completely.
Let's answer this marketing question. I know you love marketing questions. What's your take on marketing the Animal Farm? Is it only Twitter, YouTube thing? Because that's what it seems. That's what it seems we hear about from Forex. How would you market it? So tough time to market, obviously, because we're in such a bear market that there's not a lot of traction, not a lot of people clicking on stuff, but you could still do it. It just would depend on how profitable your ads are. But there's multiple ways to do it. One, I've said this a bunch of times, the landing page has to be smooth. So no matter where we send people, whether it's from a YouTube video or anything else, we should be sending them to a landing page. So if we've got someone with 600,000 subscribers and he's throwing out a video on it and he's breaking everything down and showing you how to do it, when he gives you his link should take you to a landing page that should explain things for you, because people need to hear things multiple times. Most of them, a lot of people don't just dive in. Some people will go straight to the site and click the buy button and see what happens. Some people now want to do their own research now that they've heard it from you. So my main thing that I would do right away is I would make the landing page amazing, easiest to convert as possible, showing people what problem this solves in the industry. And the problem is that, the DeFi is a crapshoot and crypto is a crapshoot. The owners of platforms make the most money. This will give you the opportunity to be a platform. So we've solved that issue, or a platform owner. We've solved that issue. Here's the steps to get in, just as clean as could be possible. for people to onboard. They don't, not a lot of buttons to click, really simple. They watch a couple of videos. It's flat out says, watch this video first, watch this video second, just as clean as it could possibly be. So that's what I would start with. And that should be done even if you're not running outside ads. So Twitter, I think, will be sort of good, but there's not that many Twitter influencers that are going to put any effort into it. I mean, the fact that they can just copy and paste and throw a tweet out there, that doesn't require any engagement. The few that, when we were doing those Twitter campaigns, the few that actually jumped on board and wrote a short little paragraph about how they thought it was cool, that's at least a little bit more engaging. But if there can be a photo or anything, I don't know. Twitter's a tough place to advertise stuff like that. So I don't know that we're going to get a lot of traction. If we do get a lot of traction, it's going to be Twitter influencers with real followings. And so when they write their little paragraph, people are like, oh, I'm going to click on this link. That link they click takes them to this landing page I just talked about to explain everything to them. Without that, any piece of the chain that's broken, any piece of the system that's broken, nothing's going to work. You got a killer Twitter influencer who has an amazing following, and he puts that out there, and it drives people to a landing page that doesn't make sense, especially one like even the Animal Farm one. I think it has the old contest up. People are now confused and they leave. So if any piece of this chain, any link in the chain is broken, then none of it will work. So you got to start from the very beginning, from where people initially hear about the content, whether it's a Twitter influencer or they're watching an ad on YouTube or whatever it is. Taking them to the next step has to be super clean, and then which explains everything to them. And the next step is actually onboarding them. And it's a really tough nut to crack, because not only are you having to take people from learning about crypto, they're in the crypto space, they're just trying to figure out how to get into DeFi. Some people that are in crypto don't have like a MetaMask wallet. They're not that far down the road, so they can't really onboard right away. They need to set up MetaMask and get all that stuff. So there's more steps there. It would just take a few days to whiteboard it out and find the fastest path. But there's other ways to market it for sure. But if I was ever to consult with the team, my main thing, I think they're doing some other good stuff in PR and getting in front of some of the right people. It sounds like they've got some big channels they're going to go on. All that stuff's going to help. If you're driving people, if you're drumming up all this energy and driving people from there to a landing page that isn't optimized to convert people, like, hey, I'm excited about this project. Now you go to the website, and you just start to lose your enthusiasm because you're sorting around trying to figure out how it's going. What you really want to do is go, I'm pumped. Let me buy 10 pigs and stake them in there, and let's get this thing going. So my first thing that I would say if I were to consult with the team would be, let's optimize the landing page to be as smooth as silk, and then everything else will fall into place a little bit easier. There's my rant about marketing.
I'm not going to talk about marketing. It's not anything I know anything about. I'm trying to learn, but yeah, Scott's nailed it. Yeah. I'll leave it.
I get it. It's a tough process, but it's really just to make things easiest as possible for new users. They got to see something that's eye catching. Maybe that's a thumbnail on a video about a new farm that's opening. They click on that, they watch the content. It's just got to lead them step by step through the process as smooth as possible. And landing pages, I think, the one thing that we're completely missing. We just haven't done anything with it. And if we're going to drive people there, it needs to convert. But that's it. Here's a fun one, and it's very, very I don't know. There's a bunch of ways to answer this. I'll let you hit it first. So what's the best animal farm strategy for beginners and long-term holders?
Okay. Well, there's two real answers to that. Well, okay. If you don't want to sell native assets, you buy pigs, you stake them in the pig pen and earn BUSD, and compound and DCA yourself up to a position where you're happy with the BUSD dividends. Bearing in mind the fact that in the future, the pig pen injections will be a lot stronger than they are. Although today's 200k was a nice surprise. I thought 150, 200k was in there, so that's bullish. Dogs, I'm very bullish on dogs personally. If I had spare risk capital right now, I would be buying dogs and splitting my strategy between the auto compound and the linear. Although I am favouring the linear pool personally because I like the BNB. Although the auto compounding is a fantastic place to earn to put that B&B to work, to pet, so the contract will automatically buy, the dogs to pair with the B&B, and will earn you pigs in the background, which you can then stake in the pig pen, increase the position, and keep the rotation going. And also, for me personally, as a long-term holder in drip, I'm going to be putting my part of my drip claims every day paired up with BUSD into the drip BUSD farm, waiting for the emissions to change and the APRs to go up, so I can earn free dogs and put them back into the parent. So for me personally, as a beginner, it depends whether you're a beginner with little capital or a lot of capital, because that will determine where you put your funds. Because if you're coming into the animal farm with $100, you've got to manage your expectations versus what's on offer inside the farm. You can't put $100 into the drip BUSD farm now, or any of the farms, and expect to be earning $30 a week. So you have to manage your own risk and expectation and decide how long term or short term you are. Because I think if you're short term, the farm is probably not for you. In all honesty, there's other places to put your money. You can obviously the drip garden is going to be moved away from the farm, which is why I'm not mentioning it, because I do love the garden. But it's a case for you. You can buy and hold dogs, but you're going to get it with a 90% tax. So the dog pound is the place to put your dogs, and it just depends on the amount of capital you've got versus what you want from it. And I personally believe that obviously the pig pen and the dog pound both offer something for you. And if you're a B&B maxi, then go in the dog pound. If you're a BUSD maxi, drop in the pig pen or switch and swap. But remember to use the ecosystem to recirculate and compound your earnings, because that's how you'll get the most out of the farm, depending on the capital level you've got to invest.
Yeah, that's a good answer. It's a really challenging answer because there's a bunch of different ways to play it. And like Lee said, if you've got very little capital, then you're on one side. If you got a lot of capital, you're on one side. If you're newer to crypto and you're not like really attached or not a Bitcoin maxi or anything like that, then there's one way to play it. If you're really into blue chips, then there's another way to play it. So I would say that animal farm in general, especially with the drip garden gone, there's no short-term play here that makes a lot of sense. You'd be better off picking a killer miner and getting in, getting out, and trying to jump up some additional income or whatever. I don't think there's a good short-term play that will last a long time in DeFi, probably at all, to be honest. But on the animal farm, I think if you're new and you're just trying to sort it out and you have a reasonable amount of capital, I don't think there's anything wrong with just 50-50 in it between pigs and dogs. That way you own a portion of the platform, you're getting some BUSD, and then you're either earning B&B in the dog pound or you're earning some additional pigs, just depending on how you want to do it. And I'm with Lee. I really like the linear pool because I like B&B and I want this to generate all my gas fees. So I need to keep building this to the point where I'm just flush with gas all the time, so I never have to worry about it. But I'll get to that point. So if you just want to keep it real simple, like that's exactly what I would tell the brand new person to do. Now, if you're really into blue chip cryptos, like I would just put some on the farms or the pools. You can go stake some money if you like BNB a lot, or Cake, or Ethereum, or whatever. You can just stake it in there straight up and sit back and earn yield. So that's one of the easiest ways to play ever. It's also a long-term deal, but that's really smooth too. So for me, it just depends. If you're really into one thing or another, for me, I'm bullish on the whole ecosystem, but I'm also bullish on some of these blue chips. So I've got a bunch of these blue chips in the farm, and I don't know how much I got in here. Probably it was more when it was higher. I probably have $7,500 or something like that in blue chips on the farms, and I'm just planning on those earning a yield, and I'm bullish on them. So I think during the next bull run, they're gonna 5x to 10x, and I'm going to be able to make my money there. So I'm playing it in a way that I trust 4x assets, but I'm not going to put all my eggs in that basket. I'm also going to put some money on the farms and the blue chips, and I'm going to try to diversify inside of an ecosystem that I trust. So that's my angle. But it just depends on how much money you have. I mean, if you've got $1,000, I would keep it smaller. Pick a strategy, one of those strategies that you like. If you've got $10,000, then you can branch out a little bit and, do some pigs, dogs, and maybe start with the farms or whatever. So I know that's a really drawn out answer, but there's just a bunch of different ways to play it.
Yeah, I agree. Is that audio better?
Oh yeah, way better. It's like your mic wasn't working the whole time and you were running off a basic mic.
It's that shotgun mic up there. This is the daddy. I like to move around the office.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're silky smooth now. Sounds a lot better.
I'd ban that Mowgli as well. He's a full-time footer. I wouldn't even time.
Yeah, there's just a bunch. I don't know, bunch of nonsense. But that's what you get. That's what you get in DeFi. This is funny. So Sean, Scott's so chill when he talks crypto, he could talk a token back from the That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. But I would say, if I was real, I would be talking back a couple of these projects that recently rugged, including the one today. So I'd be trying to pull those back and get my ROI out. But I appreciate the kind words. That's, like I said, that's the nicest thing anyone's probably ever said to me. I'm gonna tell my wife, why don't you ever say nice things to me when she gets home tonight?
He's right though. Just for the record.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Quick question: why does it take so long for a UI? It just takes that long, dude. You got to get the right people in. I feel like you could put it up sooner, but if you just wanted to basically replace what you have with a cleaner look, what I would have done is I would have actually launched the UI sooner in the way I wanted it to look, and just had other tabs on there that said this is coming, and then just updated those tabs later. That's what I would have done personally, but I'm not in charge. Forex is waiting until he feels like he's got everything right to launch it, and it's going to take however long it takes. I do know the team who's working on the UI, and they're solid and they're uber talented. So the stuff they're going to create is going to be much more advanced than what you see now. I mean, the old Drip UI is super rudimentary. It doesn't really give you much information. The most advanced thing down here is the different airdrop system, but none of this is real fancy. So it's taking a long time, probably because they're trying to bring all those analytics in, figure out how to integrate everything and have it be 100% right, which probably isn't a fun job to do. I don't envy those guys, but I trust it will come out looking good when they're done.
Yeah, at the end of the day, like this, we don't know what's been happening in the background. If the developers who were all in on Animal Farm had to focus all their attention on that, then we got the announcement that in the last couple of voice chats he's done, where there's 2 dedicated teams with specific roles. There could have been 5 or 6 drip UIs that have been we had that teaser, didn't we? Do you remember with the music and the iPad and the MacBook, where it showed you the institutionalized, that clean UI? No one's saying that it doesn't take long for someone to just do a user interface. But when you have to integrate all of this with the branding that they're thinking, and then we've got BP that's come on board, we've got a different marketing team and all that. We don't know what direction we were going in versus the one we want to go in with the on-ramp coming. So I don't think that it's a case of just the UI having to be finished. I think it's a case of integration with how it looks versus what is actually involved within it. So it could release a UI, I assume, with a good developer in a couple of days. I don't know. I've never done that kind of thing. However, it's not just a normal UI. It has to fit in with a roadmap of what we've got that's on the UI, not what just the UI is, I think.
Yeah, I agree. It is what it is. Hey, shout out to Wanna Be Will. Appreciate you always supporting. He's got the philosophical posts every day and always pumps me up. So shout out to him for tapping in. And everyone puts work in. You put out those amazing posts every day, gets people jacked up. We try to create the content that we do. I mean, it's all it's the best community in DeFi. I don't think there's a larger community, and I don't think there's a community that's disengaged. I said it a million times. For the amount of subscribers that I have on my channel and the amount of views I get per video, it's skewed heavily. Like, I shouldn't get near that many views. When you go look at other channels who cover a lot of stuff but don't cover drip, they get way less views. So it's like just a super strong community. And I guess if people weren't watching my stuff, maybe I wouldn't keep creating. But it's enjoyable, man. We believe in the ecosystem. We think it's going to bounce back. Forex is a talented dev. If you can plug in the right team, this thing's going to pop off, and then it'll be so much more fun to make content. I'll tell you that. Once the price starts going back up, and some of the FUD leaves the space, and we start to work our way back into a more stable or into a bullish market, then we're going to be in solid shape. But
100%. Want to be Wales, one of the many people in this community that keeps me excited, and because we're positive people, right? There's nothing wrong with constructive criticism in any business. It's the way that you grow a business, in my opinion. You can't just have rose-tinted glasses on all the time. However, it's the way that it's delivered. And I think delivery of anything, whether it be criticism or praise, needs to be balanced with, intelligence, research, and sentiment. So it's easy just to say, oh, this is crap, the price is going to zero. But what are you doing to improve on that as a human and as an investor? Nothing. You're just trying to influence other people. We don't know what wallet size you've got. We don't know how much money you've got. But I look at people as if they've got $1, because I'm no better than, any man on the street, any woman on the street, or anyone. No one's better than me who lives in a multi-million pound, mansion in California, Beverly Hills, whatever it is. So I just think that because we've been in a long bear market, and people are saying it's the longest bear market at 378 days, we've had, as in price to price, top to bottom. It's so easy for people to moan about, we always hear this, it's 90% down, it's 91% down. And as much as you can look at any chart, just look at many of them. Everyone has struggled in the last, 12 and a bit months. And it's a rough ride. Like, no one's sitting there saying this is great, everything's brilliant, because it's not. It's just not. However, if you're not doing something about it personally, i.e. making a video, posting a tweet, liking a video, liking a tweet, if you've got a phone and it's logged into any of these platforms with any influencers or YouTubers or Instagrammers or even each other, if you're not liking each other's posts, and that's the least you could do, then you're part of the problem and you're not giving us any solution, because it's easy to state a problem without trying to offer a solution. Even if you're wrong, you've got to try and work at it. That's all you can do.
Yeah, I agree. Everyone's just going to put their brick in if they believe in the project. If not, they're welcome to claim. It's just, that's how it goes with any investment, especially in a bear market, especially in crypto. Like I said, I've gone through crypto bear markets in the past. I know what it feels like, and I just know eventually it will end. Prices will skyrocket, and everyone will wonder why they didn't get in. It just happens every time. So here's a good question. So Marcus heard coach say the drip community is making some noise with Spritz Finance recently, possible collaboration incoming. So a couple things. Coach reached out to the CEO. The CEO was commenting on our videos and stuff that we made, saying, hey, I'm the CEO. If there's any questions, let me know. Drip Coach took the initiative to try to set up an AMA with him. Sounds like that has been booked. So I don't know when that's going to happen. I think it's like in the next week or something. So I don't necessarily know what collaboration we will have, but those guys need users to be onboarded and start using the platform. My guess is that Ingenious platform is set up. They got everything ready. They're probably being run by like venture capital. So they've got some runway from this is just me speculating, but they've got some runway from a budgetary standpoint where they can do a lot of incentives to get people on, but eventually they got to go off of that. And then they just take a small percentage when people pay bills or transfer money to their account. So If you haven't used Spritz, it's amazing. So it's right now, I think it's just in the US, might be Canada, but for sure US. And then it sounds like they're going to branch out and get to some other countries soon, which will probably be discussed on the AMA. But if you're in the US and you have ever wanted to pay a bill with crypto or transfer money to your bank account and use it as an off ramp, it's slick. A couple business days, everything's smooth. Feel free to use my link and we'll both get $50. Shameless plug, but I love it. I literally this weekend set my dad and my little brother up on it and just said, hey, as you're starting to take profits, like just pay your bills and all that type of stuff. I just sent them the $50 to send their first $50 bill payment and get started and get familiar with the platform. So yeah, I think it's key. So I'm not sure exactly what partnership we'll have, but that's another scenario. Like these guys, Spritz has the ability to be big. It's real utility and it is super, super cool. So if they continue to run a good business and everything's smooth, they could be selling advertising on their thing and advertising Drip Network site, Animal Farm site, all that type of stuff. So there could be some cross collaboration there that would take pretty much no effort that would help. I don't know what the long-term collaboration is, but yeah, right now, hopefully I don't eat my words, but Spritz Finance is top notch and I use it like all the time, every other day. Now I'm making a bill payment with it or transferring some crypto out or whatever. So that's super solid.
Spritz, I'm just gutted it's not in the UK for me to at least try it because it's a good off ramp from watching, you guys' videos, but also the potential for me to, for instance, earn $50 on Bybit trading, which I'm watching now. That one's not going to earn me $50. But if I had 50, if I got a coin that was eligible to be used to pay a bill, and I could just literally, without having to withdraw to my bank, pay the bill by direct debit or credit card or debit card, it would be 10 less steps for me to pay a credit card bill. For instance, Capital One, or my HSBC credit card. So hopefully we do hear some news about that because that would be awesome for us over here. Who knows?
It might be soon. It wouldn't surprise me. The regulations are pretty close, so they could get that done soon. Omar's asking me how much I made from baked beans. Nothing yet. I would have actually been in pretty good shape had I not got that 70% tax when I claimed. So I think I'll actually do well. So when you get referrals, like I got a bunch of referrals on baked beans, which is good, but you don't get those dollars. All it does is speed up your ability to earn faster. You're still going to max out. If I put in 3 BNB, 9 is the most I can take out, whether I get 100 BNB in referrals or 0, 9 is the most I can take out. So all referrals do is it just boosts your speed up so you can ROI a little bit faster. So I haven't ROI'd yet. I will soon. It just started. I mean, it's only 15 days old or something like that. So I doubt a lot of people have ROI'd yet, but it's not really made for that. It's every 10 days, then you can start to claim. So I think most people, the strategy about a month. I think most people ROI in about a month, depending on what strategy they use of hydrate and all that type of stuff. So we'll see.
I've made nothing either because I compounded on day 11 and got reset.
Yeah, you got burnt just like me. So I timed it out too. I'm like, okay, this is perfect because they were basically saying, hey, if you make a new deposit, it restarts that clock. So I'm like, okay, I timed out my hours, went back to the contract, actually looked exactly when I made my last deposit. And then when I did it, I looked, it was a couple days after that 11th day. Anyway, I think I hit 70% tax and got burnt on 2.1 BNB. And it was a painful day, but that's how it goes. This is DeFi. There's no refunds. There's no community or customer service number I can call to try to get my money back,
Gift receipt.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm still pretty far behind in the chat. We've been going for a while now, and almost 2 hours. So we'll give it a couple more minutes, and then I got to actually run to a meeting. Let's see what else we got. We got a lot of star players in here, so I appreciate everyone joining and jumping on. This was kind of last minute. I plan to do a drip video today and talk about some of these other projects a little bit. And I was talking to Lee, and I'm just like, you just want to jump on stream because we could have all these conversations live. And so a little impromptu, but I appreciate. At one point we had like 125 people in here, so that's pretty solid for a kind of a last minute thing.
It's good, man.
Yeah. Thank you, Brian. I'm 30 minutes behind. Thank you, Brian. You may not even still be here because you've been gone for so long, or it's been so long since you posted, but thanks for the super chat, man. Exile Degen. Drippin' Farms. Yeah, we got all the usual suspects in here. Oh man, look. Man, Mike the investor jumped in too.
Yo, Mike.
No, we talk a lot, Mike. No, just like when I chat with you, you may think you're getting in late, but we'll ramble on forever. So, but cool. Well, what else? Let's close it out then, my man. What else do you want to hit before we go? Anything you're particularly excited about? Any degen plays you feel like you're going to make money on and have some wasteful cash? I know you've been trading a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's I started learning because I always like to educate myself as much as I look like a thug and a thicko from England. I do like to learn a lot, and I wouldn't say I've got ADHD or anything like that, but I've certainly got very impulsive feelings to not sit around and not keep my brain working. So I've been, I've reignited the passion for my trading books and my chart reading skills and stuff. So I decided to reignite the Bybit account. Well, I started on Binance actually, but I recently opened a Bybit account to do a little bit of trading on leverage, and I'm talking less than 5x is the maximum I'll go. And I'm talking, on the 1 hour charts, I'm just playing around with it and not doing too bad. I want to hit 3% a day, and so far I'm on 4.2, which I think is decent, and that's across 60 trades so far. And when I say 60 trades, we're taking profits at anything from $5 to $50. Mm-hmm. Losses are minimal, and anything that I earn above, I had $40 in my account, you see, so I decided to trade with 40, and that's up to 100 and something now with the trades I've got ongoing. And when I get to a certain point, I've got some bills I need to pay. I've told you about one of them that I need to pay back, and the rest of it, anything over $100, I'm going to be using to buy drip, pigs, and dogs. So, similar to what we say about anything else outside of the drip network, any realized profits always go back into this ecosystem, which has allowed me to get to where I am today. Because not all of the money has just come from my bank account. It's come from leveraging other opportunities, which is why I always say diversification is important as long as you pick your battles. And picking your battles sometimes can backfire because none of us know 100%. But, I think we're smart enough to, out of every 10, I don't think all 10 would rug. So, yeah, trading at the moment is a serious passion of mine and almost an obsession, to be honest.
Yeah, love it. What are you going to do? How's that conversation going to go between you and Forex when you eclipse him as top trader on Bybit?
What's your next short?
Love it. Yeah, I've traded a lot over the years, and I haven't been trading as much lately. Just been, I don't know, it's kind of supplementing some of my YouTube life with when I used to trade, and then trying to keep everything rolling with my business and all the consulting and stuff I do. So one of those things, but you keep sending me those charts in the chat, and it's gonna get my FOMO going. And then they've got some sort of $5,000 giveaway or something that they might do, some lottery. I don't know. I just feel like it's when I need to throw some money in here, play with it. I kind of miss doing technical analysis and breaking down the charts and all that type of stuff. I never was great at trading pairs. I didn't trade pairs a lot. I did a lot of stock options and futures. Day trade futures and stock options were all pretty much swing trades, mostly on the sell side. But but I am I understand the concept pretty well. I have traded some Forex, so it's basically the same thing. Get in here and play some pairs. You got any particular indicators that you're loving?
At the moment, I've got, obviously I like the Bollinger Bands. I like the what's that cloud called? Ichimaki cloud, Ichimaki cloud, and obviously the RSI at the bottom. And there's a couple. I mean, some of my trend lines ain't too bad when I've done some further research, to be honest. But at the moment, there's a lot of coins that on the short term are just sitting within the cloud. They're just literally trading across the middle. So there's nothing really. There's no major volume swings, nothing like that. So I'm trading on short term, on small leverage, on small amounts, and getting little wins. And some of the losses I've took are not going to kill me. But the degenerate inside of me is starting to feel. I'm not talking FOMO on these pumps, because like we said earlier, I do want to wait and see how this plays out, because it could be that fake out that we spoke about earlier. But I am starting to get the itch, but I want to do more educating of myself on technical analysis. I know the basics and I know the standard, but I want to get into divergences and trend reversals and stuff, and a bit more depth in depth on that side, really.
I wonder if they have it on there. Is there a VWAP, which I think is like volume weighted average something? I forget what it actually stands for, but I used to use VWAP a lot. If I've got it on there, I would throw it on there and I can explain to you how to use it. But I love that one. That's a tool I would definitely. That's a main tool I would use when trading futures. But
on there.
Yeah, if it's on there, use it.
Yeah, it's on there.
Cool.
We'll talk about.
All right.
That
well, next stream, maybe we'll have to do some degenerate live trading or something like that. But cool, man. Let's we'll wrap it up. I appreciate you joining today. So it made my life a little bit easier. I could rattle on about Drip and other projects for a couple hours and not even have to edit the thing, just pump it out there. So I appreciate you, my man.
Yeah, man. Thanks for having me on. I appreciate it. It's nice to be a guest.
Yeah, right. You're always streaming, so it's good sometimes to flip it around. I need to get. I've been listening to this nonsense, whatever this music is in the background. I got to figure out how to get some better music in, because this is kind of some elevator music. So I'll figure out how to upgrade my system. But appreciate everyone who joined today. Still got like 75 people in here. We had 125 at one point, so just a lot of support and love from the community. Appreciate it, guys. Happy investing.